In this example, we're asked to perform the indicated operations, and notice most of the operations, they're all addition or subtraction, but they either involve zero or subtracting a number or adding a number to itself. So let's see how these problems work so you can see some patterns. So 6.3 minus 0, well, you can subtract 0 from any number, and it is itself. So this would be 6.3. The next one is the same idea. Even if the decimal is negative, if you subtract 0 from it, your result is the same. Now let's look at the next one. So you have a number minus the same number. So it may be easier to see if you had 3 minus 3, a number minus itself, the result is 0. And the same is true here, even though the numbers are negative and they're decimals, a number minus itself is 0. Now here the 0 is first and it's a subtraction problem. So let's think about this. I'm going to draw a number line. So we could think of starting at 0 and then we want to subtract or take away, so we're going to move to the left 6.3 units. And we know when you move to the left 6.3 units, that would place us at negative 6.3. So 0 minus 6.3 is the same as negative 6.3. Okay? And this is important to remember. This will come up a lot in algebra. Okay? It's tempting to just drop the 0, and you can drop the 0, but once you've done that, it's no longer a subtraction sign, it's a negative sign. Okay? And also remember, you can't just drop the subtraction sign. This won't be positive 6.3, it will be negative. Okay? Now the next one, we have 0 minus negative 6.3. So looking at our number line again, let's change colors. We want to subtract the opposite of 6.3. Okay? So starting at 0, if we're going to subtract, we would move to the left, but since we're subtracting an opposite, we're going to move to the right 6.3. And that would give us positive 6.3 or just 6.3. Okay? You could also think of this as 0 minus negative 6.3. You can change it to addition. So if you change an operation from subtraction to addition, you take the opposite of the number being subtracted, which would be positive 6.3. And 0 plus a number is the number. Okay. Here again we have the difference between two numbers where the numbers are identical. So this one is similar to this one. A number minus itself is 0. Now we have addition problems. So 0 plus a number is itself. Okay. With addition, remember, it doesn't matter. Addition has a commutative property. It doesn't matter which order they're in. 6.3 plus a number is itself. Okay. And just contrast that with subtraction. When you change the order of subtraction, you get the opposite. And that's true with subtraction in general. If you subtract two numbers in the opposite direction, you get the opposite number. But with addition, it doesn't matter which way you're adding, you'll get the same number. In this next example, we're adding a number and its opposite. So maybe you remember what happens when we do this. Okay, if we start at 0 and we go to 6.3, and then we want to add its opposite, which means reverse directions. That's a tick mark. Reverse direction and go 6.3 towards the negative direction, you would get back to 0. Okay. We could also use, we usually don't use it in this way, but remember we said we can change subtraction to addition by changing this to addition and taking the opposite. We could do the same thing here. We can change addition to subtraction and then take the opposite. And notice this would be a number times itself, we know is 0. In the next example, notice the numbers are identical to the previous example, but they're in a different order. But since it's addition, that's okay. We'll get the same result. The opposite plus its a number plus its opposite is still 0. Okay. And now we'll look at the effect of adding 0. Well, adding a 0 to a number in either direction, since it's addition, it doesn't matter, will result in the number. Okay. So knowing these facts are important. They're the fact of adding 0, and 0 is considered the identity of addition because adding 0 to a number gives you back the same number. And then subtracting 0 gives you the number, or subtracting from 0 gives you the opposite. These numbers are also called inverses of each other when we add. Here we go. Additive inverses, because you add them together, you get back to 0. So these ideas you should try to understand in general and see how they work, not just in isolated situations, and then you'll be able to apply them in algebra.